can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Well, hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a crazy morning. This morning was a day when I could not get to work. It was like I started my first phone call was before I was ready to get a phone call. It was at about 6:20 in the morning.
Hmm.
And I went, okay, that's what this day is going to be. Not that it's bad. Loved who I was talking to. Everything's fine. But 6:20, I was kind of not ready to make sentences. And then I locked myself out of my house.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I was on the road and there's a terrible wreck on the way to work. And I don't think anyone was hurt, but I don't know that for a fact, but God bless them. So there's a series of events that brought me on this work of going, I can't control anything. I can
Yeah.
set my clock. I can get my rest. I can have my coffee when I say I'm going to have my coffee, and I can start my day the same way. But I do not control my day as much as I think I do.
Right. Right. The best that we are in alignment with controlling is how we show up. So, like, if you allowed the accident or the running late or the locking yourself out of the house to trigger you into being dysregulated or feeling like you were less than, or oh, I'm so stupid, or oh, I've got to do better, you can control that.
Yeah. I've
You can.
almost got the I'm so stupid out of my vernacular. That's
There
an
you go.
old thing. And that's one of those things. And it took a while because kicking myself, that was my favorite aerobic exercise,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And why did I do that? God, I was so stupid. That was so dumb. And realizing that that is the way we talk to ourselves. That's the way we show up for ourselves is bad,
Mm-hmm.
because that becomes what we hear in our head. I
Mm-hmm.
always laugh because, and I said, and my good glasses are in the car, so I've got my one leggers on.
You just got one arm on it.
Yeah, see, you didn't see it. Good. See, there you go.
No, I didn't. Of course, I don't have mine on, so mine are right. Mine are right here. And
Anyway,
yeah, and funny side note about that. I think I was born with one ear that's just a little lower than the other.
mhm.
So when I put my glasses on, I always look like I'm cattywampus. And I was
See,
looking at that the other day, and I was like, "Why do my glasses always look weird?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm 59 years old, and I think I just figured out that one of my ears is just a tinge lower than the other one."
yeah, yeah. Most people's are. Did you
I
know
guess
that?
I've never paid attention to that.
And then
I
when you
know
go and get,
symmetrically, one
yeah,
side of your body is larger than the other by a fraction, but
most people have one ear, and so when you go get if you get glasses fitted, which we don't do at Dollar Tree.
no, no. Are you kidding?
So they adjust that, and that's why you can tell glasses will sometimes be, if you put them on a table, they won't be straight.
Yeah. Well, there you have
Elizabeth is with us.
it. Hi, Elizabeth.
Candy is with us,
Hi,
and
Candy.
Corinne, praying for you and your family, Devon. Thank you, my sweet Corinne. Candy is with us. Hello,
Hello,
hello, hello.
Candy.
Joyce is with us.
Joyce.
And Corinne, getting right on into it. Corinne said, I cussed myself out when I locked myself out, got mad and broke the door open.
There you go. There you go.
Well, I just laughed at myself, because I was thinking, I'm going to have to climb through a window. And I actually made fun of me climbing through a window. I did not, because I had made copies of my key and I
Okay.
forgot about it. I forgot. And when I was doing, okay, no panic. What? Just breathe. And in that moment of breathing, I remembered the key and a little yellow tab from the locksmith that I had stuck in my purse for safekeeping.
There you go.
And so I opened the house up. I got my keys to the car and I tootled on my way. That breathing and stopping,
Mm-hmm.
and then planning ahead when I had forgotten, even if you forget that you planned ahead, somewhere in your breathing exercise, it might come back. Elizabeth,
Absolutely.
Elizabeth, we need to talk to ourselves, Elizabeth says, the way we talk to others. I'd never talk to my friends the way I talk to myself in my head sometimes. Woo! That's
Mm-hmm.
a that's big.
Absolutely. That I just posted something yesterday, I think, on Instagram. I think it was yesterday, about minding the mental, the languages that we're using inside our head, because a lot of times that language is not our own. It's been dropped there by someone in our life, whether it's childhood, adulthood, adolescenthood, wherever. It's been dropped in our emotional backpack, and
Right.
we carry it around all life, our whole life. And
Yeah.
sometimes that has us wanting to control situations that we just can't, that are just out of our control. They
Right.
are simply out of our control. And the best that we can do in those moments is go inside that backpack and see what exactly it is that we can control for ourselves there.
Hmm.
Stopping and doing some breathing and recognizing that sometimes life doesn't always unfold the way we expect it to. And there's some pretty hard decisions to be made from time to time, and
Right.
not having control over those things can leave us feeling helpless. And that is oftentimes the bigger trigger for us, is that we feel helpless.
Something I've learned from my sister is that one of the things we cannot control is sometimes food when we are out and about. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot control what will be open. I mean, you can have everything planned. Well, we'll just stop at a McDonald's. We'll just stop at a blah, blah, blah. Well, then you see there's a sign to go staffing issues closed at 2 in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoon, and you're going, what?
Mm-hmm.
So my sister carries her snacky snacks. She calls them her snacky snacks, things that keep her blood sugar up. She has some water, and she has her almonds in a baggie, and she has her carrot sticks and her peanut butter, and she has just her snacky snacks that can protect her if she gets where she cannot control the food that they have wherever she is, or being able to get it. If
Right.
you have low blood sugar, you know the issues, you got to keep snacky snacks. So have a spare key, snacky snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Joy says, my being in control is my worst problem. I feel cray cray if things are not all going according to my plan. I put in the my plan,
Mm.
according to plan. But the truth is, they're always going according to plan. It just not maybe our plan.
Right. Right.
Her car has been in the shop. So, oh, you cannot control car repair.
Mm-mm. No, no. Well, I think I told you when I bought my car a year and a half ago, it was in the shop for almost five
Mhm.
months, right out of the gate, you know, and you can't control it. What do you do? I mean, I was fortunate enough to have them give me a loaner, but still, there are things that we just can't control in life. And finding those things that are comforting, those things that are essential to your well-being. Sometimes we can't control something, so we don't necessarily, as crazy as it sounds, we don't necessarily want to take care of ourselves. I just sat with a client this morning, and they had a really hard session. And when they were leaving, I mean, I know a lot of professionals frown on hugging, but whatever. When they were leaving, we were hugging, and I didn't say anything in the moment. I actually started to do a post about it later, not about my client, but about the fact that there are sometimes that we hug, and there's so much gratitude and respect that you feel in that moment,
Mhm.
mutual gratitude and respect that you feel in that moment, that words aren't needed. So in that time, when a lot of times there are things that happen when we don't have control, sometimes it's financial, sometimes it is, like Joyce says, it's about our wheels underneath us, we can't control them. Sometimes it's medical, sometimes it's relationship wise. There are things that we just can't control. Finding those things, whether it's our snacky snacks or a really good nonverbal hug or an embrace, something that helps ground us back down. Our breathing tools that we talked
Right.
about last week, and we've talked about them, multiple times. Having a friend that you can call and
Mhm.
not vent to, but be vulnerable and lean on.
They're little tiny things. First of all, I got Rhonda who joined us. Hey,
Hey,
Rhonda. And
Rhonda.
then Jamie's back with us this week.
Hey,
Hey,
Jen.
Jamie. Good to have you here.
Yeah.
Joyce said, I meant it's been in the shop for a week and I feel totally out of control. I got you. I was actually reading that. I didn't know how
Mm-hmm.
long it had been in there, but I know that feeling because I've had some truck issues and it has left me stranded a couple of times and you're just totally out of control. You totally
Mm-hmm.
know nothing. So anyway, Corinne says, yeah, the little show up now and again. You
Don't
are
they?
so right.
Don't they? They show up. They show up
Mhm.
and they wild out, as we say. Sometimes they just are running amok. And it's hard to, to get a grasp on on what exactly is happening.
Joyce says, love that, Elizabeth. So true. I treat myself worse than I've ever treated anybody. And you know what's so important about knowing that we treat ourselves badly? We can stop.
Absolutely. We're the only ones that can,
Yeah.
you know.
And we train people how to treat us. Now, that's the deal is when people treat us badly, remember that their teacher has been us.
Hmm. And sometimes it's an off, it's a one off where someone you run into someone that whatever it is in a restaurant or whatever. And, servers get that all the time. They get customers that are just jerks sometimes. And they haven't taught them anything, but that's a good lesson in learning that we can't control that other person, but we can control how we show up. And sometimes you do want to throat punch those people, but other times, if we can rein it in and be in that place of like, you know what, I don't know what's going on in this person's life that they need to be such a pill today, but I choose not to punch that dance card. I'm not
That's
going to
right.
give
Mhm.
them the power over me to control me. I can control whether or not I engage in this.
I tell you something else that's helped me is I don't push things to the last minute or I try not to because I always did that. And I realized I was getting a certain adrenaline rush by pushing something to the last minute and pulling it out and going, I did it all, did it all.
Hmm.
Um, if at night, you've got to be somewhere in the morning and night you go, oh, I'll just get gas in the morning. If you
Hmm.
put no, 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 you stop at night, you get your gasoline so you have a full tank sitting in your because I will guarantee you that will be the thing that makes you late and miss something very important. That, the little things, don't push those things of even car maintenance, okay? The spare key, the snacky snacks, the car care, putting gas in the car. Um, uh, I like how we keep our bank account of our soul filled. Elizabeth gives us a quote from Untethered Soul, a book that we
Hmm.
are not the voices in our head.
Right.
That's for our soul bank account, y'all. Ron does. Is the only thing you can control in some situation is how you react to a situation.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. You just can't,
Mhm.
we're responsible, and that a lot of times that reaction is a direct response to our emotional intelligence, and it also is a direct response to which one of our littles might be firing off at the moment. Because let's be real, sometimes, if we're all honest, sometimes it feels good to stir a little conflict because you feel like, let me just stir this and see what happens. You got to be careful though when you pick up that conflict spoon and you start stirring it. You got to be willing to be ready for whatever comes back to you. And I always tell people, now I know all of us, we're not perfect, and sometimes we can be what I call that shit stirrer. But I always tell people there should be a law that the shit stirrers have to lick the spoon because we are responsible for that, for what we put into it.
That's true. True that. Angie, how
Hey,
are
Angie.
you? Good to have you with us. Candy's got some ideas. Tools like breath work, EFT tapping, and meditation help when life becomes challenging. Otherwise, we just have to go with the flow of life.
Well, and sometimes you know what? If you're not aware enough to do those great tools that Candy just mentioned, sometimes just sit in your. I mean, I've had times where I've just sat in my car in silence because when you get in your car and you shut the doors, it's
Mhm.
airtight and it's silent. You can sit in there silently, or if you need to have a conversation with God, have it, or if you need to scream or cry, do it. let those things out to take care of yourself and then move on from that, you know. Because if you don't move on from it, you're putting it in that
Mhm.
emotional backpack and you're pulling it. You're putting those rocks in your pocket and you're
Yeah.
still expecting to go the same speed through life, but you're not paying attention to the fact that you're picking up huge rocks and putting them in your pockets. You can't. You'll drown in that.
Hmm.
So,
Bill
hey,
Simke,
hey,
yay!
Bill.
Yeah, we started a new show yesterday with Bill called Dreamcasters. Just
Nice.
because you can take it, doesn't mean you should take it.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's where I want to springboard. Bill, I'm so glad you stopped by. The I want to springboard into when other people are bringing the issues you can't control, whether it's substance, whether it's an illness, you're a caregiver, you cannot control that whole situation. But it is a place that will put everybody into, um, if it's substances, counting the drinks, counting the
Hmm.
days, counting the hours that someone is out, that tenseness of waiting for the other shoe to drop. When it's caregiver situation, my gosh, and when your job as a grief counselor and a death doula, you have watched people move during a transition. How are some ways that the uncontrollable factor enters in?
The uncontrollable factor, meaning that I can't control that stuff.
Yeah, when you watch the caregiver and you try to see where it happens, how does it manifest when people are losing someone and they can't do anything about it?
Well, two major ways. One way is that they just shut down. They just shut down, they
Mhm,
unplug, they disassociate. The other way is that they try to control everything. They grasp and they try to control everything.
mhm.
Um, I have the good fortune of when I'm working with individuals, I work with them for a period of time so that the family members even create what I call the nest. They create a nest for themselves so that they know what is coming and they know how to prepare as best they can for those hours or those moments that precede their loved one transitioning. And we talk about the need to control and we talk about how it's most important not to make this very important season and step in someone's final stages on this earth about anyone else other than that person. So, um, and it's challenging for some people,
Right.
it's challenging, but letting people understand, or not letting them, but helping them understand that control is actually, you're actually a prisoner to the need to control.
Mm,
Like we're not, we're the prisoner to control. If we need it, then it's evading us. We can't catch it. Well, we don't need control to have peace of mind. We need peace of mind. So instead of searching for control, open your mind up to peace of mind. Look for that.
wow, that's a big step. That's a big step. Because I will tell you that, okay, total disclosure here. When I started looking into 12-step programs to help me with whatever I needed help with, um, I found out that the control part was the biggest thing that I needed to, I was addicted to.
Mm-hmm.
My way or the highway, bud.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot about I can't control everybody else. I can't control if somebody else is going to drink and take it out on me. I can't control any of that. I can control where I put myself.
Well, and control is such a, it's such a venomous word. People use control like you're so controlling, oh, you want all the control. And really, it just means we're looking for safety. We're looking for security.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Security.
yeah, we're looking
Um,
for safety and security.
Candy says that's just like if someone flips you off when you're driving. I figure there must be a fire somewhere they're going to. I just smile and wave.
Yeah,
I'm, you
you
know,
know, people respond so differently about all kinds of, different things. And I do that as well, Candy. I'll just say, God bless them on that journey. I don't know. Maybe they just got fired. Maybe they just Maybe their bank account got hacked. Maybe they just lost a loved one. Maybe they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But you know what? It has nothing, zero to do with me. So if I go, you know what, that person's in a really foul mood. So let me just crack my skull open and give them all my good energy. Now I'm going to be in a bad mood with them. They've ruined my day. And it's like, wow, that is just nonsensical.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
nonsensical.
Joyce says it's bad when you're dreaming you're behind and you get that anxious feeling in your sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dream of and it was so real. I woke up with heart palpitations because I couldn't make the payments on my BMW. I was so caught up in it, but you know, everybody that I worked with drove really fancy cars, and so in my mind, in my dream, I had gone out and leased a BMW, and I couldn't make the payments, and I couldn't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up and I had to remind myself I don't have a BMW. I have an old farm truck, which I'm very happy with. I'm really good with that. And but literally it let me know, okay, one, don't get a BMW because it might not be for you. But it's sometimes we dream things and it's so real, but pay attention to what you dream that causes stress. That might be something to say goodbye to.
I will also say it must be the season of dreams, because I will also say this. I'm going in for my heart ablation on the 30th of this
Mhm.
month, and last night I had a dream that that I was on. I was having a conversation with a person in my business complex that just had this ablation done, and they were telling me, oh, I hope you don't get anybody that does this, this, or this. And in my mind, I'm like, why would you like? Why? That's like women that have children and they go through, oh my God, it was the worst experience I ever had in my life. It's so painful. I'm like, why would you tell someone who has never been through this or who is pregnant that it's the worst thing ever? Like, people are so unaware sometimes. But anyway, having this conversation with this person, and this is where my mind goes. Last night I had a dream that my surgeon, I was in there and I was moving to the table in the operating room, and my surgeon walked in, and there's these things that are out on social media. I don't really know what they are, but they look kind of like a waistband you put on, and there's this
Mhm.
little thing that swings around it. It's supposed to help people lose weight or whatever. But in my dream, my surgeon walks in with one of those things doing this waist thing, and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good. How are you?" And he was like, "I'm good. I'm just going to wear this today if you don't mind during your procedure." And I started laughing. And I woke up from my dream laughing because I thought, well, I wasn't dreaming doom or gloom. I mean, that was really a funny thing for me. And I'm
Yeah.
actually going to say something to him when I see him that morning about
Mhm.
it, because it's just funny.
It really, really is. Elizabeth says, and sometimes a bitch fest for half an hour with someone who gets it will allow us to release whatever it is. Yeah, it is. Sometimes you
Absolutely.
have that person. Okay, now here's a question for you. Terry, can you explain emotional intelligence a bit, please?
Yes, our emotional intelligence is it's sort of like the bank account for all of the things that we learn about ourselves emotionally and about others emotionally. So like when if someone said, like, if this is a real easy kind of, some people won't like this, but this is just kind of an easy version of it. If you have someone that comes up to you and they say they have, I was just diagnosed with fill in the blank, and your response to that is, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, you must feel awful. Well, some people will respond that way, but that is not a very high emotional intelligence. That is, hmm, like, emotional intelligence is like, okay, how are you feeling about that? You know, just being able to understand your emotions, be responsible for your emotions and
Mhm.
how you share them outwardly, either reactively or subconsciously with other people. Knowing and having an accountability in the bank of how you're showing up. So, are we showing up in an intellectual way where we're responsible with our emotions, or are we just kind of willy nilly with them? Like some people call it financial intelligence.
Yeah.
Like if you're fiscally smart and you're allowing your money to work for you, allowing your emotions to work with you but not overcome you. You have an awareness about how you show up with your
Mhm.
emotions and
Right.
the your intelligence around them?
Well, I just think about my emotional intelligence has been like a 2-year-old a lot of my life. I mean, I'm just shooting you straight. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
reacting like that, how dare they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I laugh at it now. Yeah, Elizabeth says, me too. Oh, I was a control freak before walking the 12 steps. Elizabeth says, I don't wave. I just drop an F bomb to myself and go along my way.
No. But yeah, I
Oh.
mean, a lot of people, depending on where they are, and Bill will have some good information. I'm hoping to maybe feed in on this or share
Mhm.
with this if he's still with us. But these experiences that we have in life, they are just that, they're experiences. And for many people, they imprint on us like we're Tempur-Pedic, right? And so we go through life feeling like we tell ourselves we're whole, happy, and complete just the way we are. But then just underneath the surface, those emotions and those old memory loops are just running amok. And we find ourselves in performance mode and not even really living in life. So when you say, Devon, my
Mhm.
emotional intelligence is about a 2-year-old some of the time, that's where a lot of people's, it can be 15-year-old, it can be 17-year-old us, it can be 24-year-old us. Depending on what life's experiences are, we bring that through with us. But learning how to navigate that and also releasing those experiences because they don't serve us anymore.
You know what my trigger has been?
What?
Historically, not hysterically, but historically, it has been little things like discomfort. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hot.
Mm-hmm.
So my inner 2-year-old, my emotional intelligence 2-year-old, is hot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hot. People go, I mean, I've had more conversations in the last 2 weeks about how hot it is, how hot it is. Oh, it's so hot. It's just a hot. I can't, oh, it's so hot. Well, it's August.
It is August. And,
Mm.
if you have the means to escape the hot, then maybe escape the hot. Because, when we flip to that place where a lot of people don't like to go, there's a lot of people that can't escape it. And it's not to make ourselves feel bad because we can, but it's just about a reality check, a perspective. Like it's
Mhm.
hot, you know.
Mhm. Candy says, my father was in the hospital for 6 weeks before he passed. After the first week, we knew he was never coming out of there. My mother called all their friends and family and told them to come see him now because when he's gone, it won't matter to him, but it would now. So we had family and friends that would come see him every day. It was fabulous. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. And also, she gives you prayers for the heart ablation.
Thank
All will
you.
go well. I know it.
I know it too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the order I've put in anyway. And I mean,
Yeah. And Joyce says, I always make fudge and cookies over the holidays and give them to everyone I dreamed it was Christmas week and I had made and I made anything yet. I'm like you are. In my heart, I was beating out of my chest. Okay. Whenever you didn't get your cookies made, and then you wake up and you go, but I didn't need to make cookies.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Corinne, thanking you. And Elizabeth says, halt, hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. Do not get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Gets me too. Those
Mm-hmm.
are discomfort, man. It can push me right over an edge. And I'm going, okay, what do I need? And it gets back to, do I have my snacky snacks?
Do I have the things that are good for me? Because let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you, if we made a list right now, if everybody pulled out a pen and paper right now and started making a pro con list of how things are going, we have some emotionally intelligent folks that listen to us. They're intelligent,
Yes.
their levels are high. So they listen and they feed, we all interact and feed back and forth with one another. But there would
Mm-hmm.
be a lot of people out there in the world that if you started saying, how's your day going? Their list automatically and implicitly would start with something negative, and they would build on that. So when we have the option, we wake up from a dream and we have the option of knowing, you know what, it was a dream. Just that quickly, we can go, huh, okay, and switch. What is something that feels good to us?
Right.
Switch that train of thought, because if you don't, you're not able to switch the train of thought, then more will follow. Energy follows thought. So the minute that you think, oh God, it's so hot today, it's going to be a scorcher, it's going to be so hot. The next thing you know, even unconsciously, you're in the car and you're like, good Lord, how long is it going to take for this air to kick on? Now I'm sweating, my butt's sticking to the seat. This is horrible. I don't like this. I can't even roll my windows down. And it's just this thing that goes and goes instead of, it's sunny today. Radical acceptance. There you go. It's sunny. We don't have to carry on with it being all this other doom and gloom.
The best thing for that control, the need to control for me, was taking a whitewater rafting trip.
Mm-hmm.
I went with a bunch of people who were not like me, raised in a boat. So they didn't want to be up front. Well, I wanted to be up front. And I was there for all the excitement. Whoo, whoo, whoo. And we're going through. And then just one of the most joyous times of my life. I can't wait to go again. I cannot wait for it. I just think that'll be so much fun. And then the rapid stopped and nothing was happening. We're just kind of, and everybody says, well, what do we do now? And I said, we can paddle, or how about we just float? And it was this moment. And before long, I mean, it wasn't too long. We floated. It just kind of relaxed. I said, listen to the birds. Let's be right here. Let's just be in this moment. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the white water started again and we were back in. And I thought, that's what life is. Mm-hmm. I had a life jacket on. I had a wetsuit on because it was, not, the water was cold. So I had a wetsuit just in case I had a life jacket and everything was taken care of. So I was determined to learn about that. And if you think of your life that way, sometimes you float, sometimes you paddle like hell, mm-hmm. sometimes you're in the rapids, and sometimes you get thrown out of the boat. Mm-hmm. But we're not in control. But how we show up, do I need to swim? Do I need to paddle? Do I need to just stop for a minute? Mm-hmm. And I always found that, and maybe if you haven't ever been whitewater rafting, go. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you experienced some real fun. I just watched a safety boating thing on different rivers and stuff in the state, and you kayak, and a lot of people are trying kayaking for the first time, and they don't know what they don't know until they're out and they're in trouble. Mm-hmm. And so I was loving watching some of that. But Corinne says no to whitewater rafting. Not me, never. It's okay. It's all right. Y'all, it's whatever. It was what spoke to me.
Right. I have a real good friend that does, is it barrel racing? They get on a horse and they go around and around through these barrels and whatnot. There's no way. No way. That and it's not that I'm afraid of it. That just does not speak to me. Like getting on something that weighs 1,500 pounds and running like a freight train, it ain't happening. Give me my whitewater. Actually, I don't whitewater kayak, but I do kayak, so I enjoy that. But everybody has their own thing, and you know what?
Corinne says now barrel racing would be so cool. See, that's our point. That's our point. And Rhonda says sometimes it's okay to change the people in your boat.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's taking a stroll, roll, whatever around a park or a greenway, or mm-hmm. for some people, everybody has their own different comfort zones, and they have their own different means of what's going to keep them in that comfort zone. But the one thing about comfort zones, there's this little. And next time I'm at the office, I won't be there this afternoon, but I'll be there tomorrow morning. The next time I'm at the office, I'll take a picture of it. There's where on the sidewalk where there used to be a railing, mm-hmm. The people have pulled the railing out. So it's just dirt there now. Not just dirt, but there's dirt there now. And inside that dirt, every year, there's a flower that comes up out of that little dirt in the middle of this massive sidewalk and the little round hole where they dug originally. And every time I pass that little round hole and I see that little flower, I think to myself, I wonder how big that flower would grow if it were in a field. Mm-hmm. Because it's in that little comfort zone. And so it grows so big.
Yeah.
Our comfort zones, I tell people all the time, lean into your comfort zone and stretch into it just a little bit and then get comfortable there. and then lean a little bit more and get comfortable there, and then lean a little bit more and get comfortable there. And before you know it, you actually have expanded without any radical, like, I just got a 0 to 150, blow it all up now, because then your
Mm-hmm.
brain has a really hard time adjusting to that.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't control those, those emotions. Well, we can control the emotions or how we address the emotions.
Right. Candy Seaton says, a year and a half ago, I changed a lot of people in my circle so I don't have all the negative people around me. I had to do it for my peace and growth. And that is some of the time you can control where you spend your time.
Hmm. You can control
Uh,
where you spend your time. And I will say this, Brandon, we had Brandon on a few weeks
mhm,
back, and there are times, like, if you're incarcerated, you can't necessarily control your surroundings, but I've seen gentleman after gentleman after gentleman control the way that they show up. And I don't mean control in a dominant, you know, militant, I'm going to control this. It's just like, I'm going to choose what works. I'm going to choose how I want to live, and then I'm
mhm,
going to choose what works best for me to get there. And it's
mhm,
not about control at that point. It's about making conscious decisions to release the things that no longer serve you. We've talked
mhm,
about this in the past. When we're little, fits might serve us, or not using your voice might serve you, or um, letting people get away with things might serve you because you're small or you're younger and you can't speak for yourself or you can't advocate for
mhm,
yourself. When you get older, those things that might have served you and protected you, kept you safe, or kept you out of, a pseudo safety or whatever, they don't necessarily serve you as an adult. So we have to formulate new ways, just like what are those little fish that have little feet so they can, like, be in the water and then they run up on the shore. I mean, like, there's different, um, actually, I don't think they actually have feet, because as soon as I said that, I was like,
well, they're amphibians. Yeah, I know.
there's a fish with little human feet. That's not, but I
Well,
mean,
they do have little fish feet. They do. It's
yeah,
an amphibian. Yeah, I
there
know
you
which one you're
go.
talking about. Ted Klontz, I went to one of his workshops, and I was right in the middle of it, and he stopped me and he said, the thing that was your survival skill that served you in your youth is your detriment and downfall as an adult when you use it then. And I went, oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have to become intelligent about how we show up, about
Hmm.
how we handle. And now I'm not talking about handling, roughhousing our emotions,
And he
but
said, newts. Newts are what you mean.
there you go. Thank you. Thank you. We have to be responsible with how we show up, and we have to raise that. And here's the thing, as Brandon said, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Stop and look at the people you're surrounding yourself with. Are they
Yeah.
people who cause strife and chaos and
Yeah.
create feelings of a lack in any way, or are they people that lift you up and support you? And I'm not talking about ride or dies. I'm talking about, are they people, who understand,
Do they bless your life? Do they
yeah, do they
bless your
bless
life?
your life?
Do they add to or do they take away?
Yeah. Well, I said to somebody one day, they were like, I think you're my ride or die. And I said, no, 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 no. Don't put me in that seat. Because one, if you're driving crazy, I'm not riding with you. And I'm damn sure not dying for you. Like, that ain't happening. Like, I don't know you that well. So, that's not happening. I'm not taking a bullet for you. You know, you got to know, you got to know who's,
It's like,
are the people in your circle, are they there and steadfast? And
yeah,
also understand that every one of us as human beings have moments where we are maybe more intellectually stronger or intellectually, weaker. And that's
right.
okay. We're human beings.
That's right. Elizabeth says, nope, I will not allow the folks not good for me into my inner circle any longer. Everyone in my circle is here because we are good for each other. Oh, I love that. Nourishing,
Right.
nourishing friendships, nourishing people. Nourishment is what we need as caregivers, and control, instead of, let's take out control, is like, I want to be safe. I want to be nurtured. I want to be nourished, and
You
I
need your
deserve to be.
Yes. You need your mental, emotional, and physical snacky snacks.
Snacky snacks,
You
and
need
sometimes
those.
small things. So
Yeah.
now we know, fill up your car, keep your car full, keep your snacky snacks full, keep you a spare key in your pocket. Keep is always the way to do it. Keep you a spare key. Well, you guys have a great rest of your day. If you have something in future shows, we're winding her down. We went a little bit over today because that's what we sometimes do. But devinoday@gmail.com. We're here each and every week on Wednesday at noon.
Yes. And I am Teri at terrypugh.com. And I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm still going to say what I always say. Oh, and I will say too, I am working on the shirts because somebody questioned that last week. So
Mhm.
want to make sure that stuff is getting out there. But I do want to say that I hope you make time today to create some belly rubs for your brain. Whatever it is you're doing, create you some belly rubs for your heart and your brain.
Mhm.
And until we see you next week, know that we appreciate you guys choosing to come and to share your energy, your heart, your thoughts with us because it's so fun. Wednesdays at noon are so much fun.
Mhm.
So we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. And until then, belly rubs for the brain and increase your peace. See ya.